So, very good afternoon to all. Shri Vijay Bhaskar Garu, the chairman of the IIPA Bangalore branch, the Shri S.S. Kshatriya ji, the chairman of the IIPA Maharashtra branch, Dr. S.N. Tripathi ji, IIPA, Shri Rajiv Tabla ji, Shri S. Nathan ji, the chairman emeritus IIPA Karnataka regional branch, Dr. D. Rajshekhar, Yuvan Kumar, distinguished colleagues. At the outset, my apologies for my inability to travel to participate in this workshop. I did 2 years ago participate in the and I thought the were quite substantive. Today's subject, recent advances on use of e-governance in citizen-centric, efficient and effective governance is quite timely. In fact, it is a subject that has been often debated in academic as also in administrative circles. And I'll share my thoughts on this subject in a brief PowerPoint presentation. You could also take a look at the DRPG IAS publication, Viksit Bharat at 2047, Governance Transformed, which outlines the strides made in digital governance across the nation in the past decade. So this is the mandate of our department, which is responsible for e-governance practices in the country. And the vision is, of course, to redressal of public grievances and administrative reforms. And the mission is to pursue e-governance projects. Over the past 6.5 years, I've had the opportunity to implement a number of e-governance projects, e-office, which transformed the central secretariat into a fully digital secretariat, as also many state secretariats and district collector offices. Bhavishya, which is an end-to-end digitization for pensioners. CP Grams, which is the grievance redressal platform for citizens. These three have been at the forefront. I'll also brief you on how the e-services delivery assessment monitors the quality of e-services that are being provided. And the sheer increase in terms of transforming physical services into digital services has happened over the past 5 years. This has enabled an improvement in governance quality, and I'll mention to you how the Good Governance Index of India and how employee empowerment through Mission Karmayogi, the IIPA portal, is being taken up. So the policy of the government is maximum governance, minimum government. A policy of maximum governance, minimum government envisages digital empowerment of citizens and digital transformation of institutions. Honorable Prime Minister in his third term has laid down a very ambitious 16-point agenda for governance, which seeks qualitative improvements in grievance redressal systems, improving the ease of living for citizens, simplification of rules and regulations and processes, capacity building through the iGot Karmayogi portal, development of comparative matrices like the Good Governance Index and NASTA, IT systems to adopt cybersecurity guidelines and protocols. Women-led development should be the major theme of government, and a whole of government approach with focus on institutionalizing Swachhata and reducing dependency in government. So these broadly form the crux of the 16-point agenda of the government for Honorable Prime Minister's third term in governance. These are some of the major administrative reforms that have been taken up. The revamping of the Prime Minister's Awards for Excellence in Public Administration. It was comprehensively revamped a number of times to ensure that priority sector programs were provided significant impetus under this scheme. So we've had a number of schemes that were taken up. The current one is holistic development of districts, in which 12 schemes are taken up to ensure that the government's policy of Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, Sabka Vishwas, Sabka Prayas is fully realized. So the PM's Awards for Excellence in Public Administration with the Civil Services Day on April 21 has represented a comprehensive transformation in which good governance practices are celebrated. The second is the Swachhta campaign. Campaign has been implemented for the last 4 years, 21, 22, 23, and 24, and has had Governance Week has been celebrated for the past 4 years. This is done from December 19 to 24. Government has tried to maximize its governance practices, bring in a citizen-centric approach towards it, and has tried to ensure that across the nation, citizens of India become key stakeholders in the governance model. Some of the key achievements that we've had and we've witnessed is that India's grievance redressal platform, the CPGRAM, has been recognized as state-of-the-art grievance redressal system by the Commonwealth and has been requested for replication in 56 countries. The Good Governance Index for states and union territories has been launched for the years 2019 and 21. The National E-Services Delivery Assessment has been published in 2019, 21, and 23. And then we've had the National E-Governance Awards being conferred every year from 2019 till 2024. E-Office has been implemented across the Central Secretariat. More than 40 lakh files are currently operated as e-files, and the state has endeavored to promote Rajbhasha through the Kirti Puraskars. In fact, so comprehensive was the revamping of CPGRAMs that it was listed as amongst the 100 best technology innovations for Viksit Bharat at 2047. The CPGRAM reform was undertaken through a 10-step reforms, and what we have witnessed is more than 70 lakh grievances have been redressed between 2022, 23 and 24. Nearly 30 lakh citizens are registered on CPGRAMs. The reduction in timelines is to 13 days. So that is a comprehensive transformation that we have witnessed in terms of how the grievance redressal systems of India have diversified and and technology has impacted and improved our grievance redressal systems. So the satisfaction levels have gone past 50%. If you take only the central ministries, it is over 60%. And there has been a significant change in that every voice of the citizen is captured and his satisfaction levels are monitored through a feedback call center. There are policy guidelines for effective redressal of public grievances that were revamped in 2024. The grievance redressal time was brought down to 21 days, and the focus has been on integration of grievance portals so that Government of India's CPGRAMs has been integrated with all state grievance portals as also with central portals. The appellate authorities' oversight has been strengthened, and we also had the technology upgradation for CPGRAMs through the next generation CPGRAMs, this being taken up, and it will be launched from June 1st, 2025. So the source codes are being rewritten, the front ends are being simplified. So it will be a comprehensive revamp of the CPGRAMs 2024, in addition to the 10-step reform which brought in use of artificial intelligence into grievance redressal portals. The CPGRAMs has received massive media coverage, and also the outreach of government to citizens has been quite significant. In fact, grievance redressal brings together the political leadership with the executive leadership along with the citizens together. So we've had a huge number of success stories that have been captured following review meetings that have been held. A number of tweets that have been issued by the senior leadership. The big area of citizen-centric reform is in terms of the Mission Karmayogi Competency Framework. The Karmayogi Competency Framework is quite important. In fact, I was part of this module that was celebrated called the Rashtriya Karmayogi Jan Seva Program. And it seeks to bring together behavioral competency model in terms of improving interpersonal relations. So you can take a subject of common interest within the organization and see how various wings of the organization, various officials in the organization respond to the manner in which the success story has been depicted. Say, for example, a successful conduct of this particular discussion, how individuals an official to achieve. So I've seen a number of officials who have done and completed numerous programs on the IIPA platform, and the Sankalp of this Karmayogi competency framework being Vikasa, Garva, Kartavya, Ekta, and each one of them tries to build self-confidence amongst officials as also the the responsibility that one has to fulfill one's duties and resolve for a Viksit Bharat. These are what are being promoted. Another major area of work is with regard to increasing efficiency in decision making. If we are adopting e-governance practices, it should lead to better decision making, faster decision making, and qualitative decision making. How has e-governance models transformed decision-making skills in government? The initiative for increasing efficiency in decision-making, you can compare it with what the Department of Government Efficiency in the United States seeks currently to do. The Indian model has focused a great deal in terms of digitization frameworks, which is the digitization of the central registration units, as also the adoption of e-office, operationalization of the desk officer system, the delayering in terms of the levels of disposal and channels of submission to within through the delegation of financial and administrative powers to lower commissions. So collectively, this four-pronged approach represented the integrated approach for increasing efficiency in decision making in government. Annual reports and monthly reports on the IEDM initiative are available in public domain. Government has tried to delayer institutions to ensure that the number of levels to which a file moves is less than 4. It has also tried to ensure timely administrative and financial delegation, particularly with regard to miscellaneous and contingent expenditures, and also has had external evaluations being taken up. So the adoption of EHRMS across the central secretariat, particularly for all staff-related work, has been responsible for administrative delegation. So leave travel concessions, GPF, computer advances, each of these are delegated to the appropriate levels, and nodal officers have been appointed in all ministries for EHRMS. Similarly, this is what we notice in terms of the average distinct levels of transaction with regard to the number of levels which have been delayered, and you can see the percentage of e-receipts which is now almost at 100%. The growth in terms of e-file adoption across ministries and departments is around 95%, and the number of desk officers being operated in the central secretariat has also gone up significantly. The central secretariat receives about 500,000 receipts every month, and the e-office system enables supervisory oversight of the number of receipts that are pending, the nature of the receipts that are pending, as also the percentage share of e-receipts with physical receipts. And what we have seen is that there has been a massive push for digitization across the central secretariat, almost 100% of the receipts moving as digital receipts. So the adoption of EHRMS the adoption of e-office, these have been quite significant game changers as far as the Central Secretariat is concerned. The initiative for increasing efficiency in decision making also envisaged a major reform for institutionalizing Swachhata and reducing pendency in government. It is called the Special Campaign, and the Special Campaign has been implemented across more than 11.5 lakh offices in the last 4 years, and in 2024 it was implemented in nearly 6 lakh offices, and it has earned 650 crores from scrap disposal, as also 131 lakh files have been weeded out. The total revenues from scrap disposal are over 2,300 crores. So, the campaign was administered through a digital portal, a special campaign portal, and monitoring across ministries and departments right down to the field formations was possible. It was also possible through a digital portal to monitor the status of pendency of MPs references, parliamentary assurances, PMO references, interministerial references, state government references, public grievances, as also record management practices. So digitization is the right way forward, irrespective of any amount of resistance. It's important that we should be totally convinced that technology adoption is the right way forward for a futuristic governance model. And my own experience of digitally transforming multiple institutions, be it the All India Institute of Medical Sciences, New Delhi, the Board of Revenue for Rajasthan at Ajmer, and the Central Secretariat in Government of India, have all been that there is a massive improvements in terms of administrative efficiency. So this is only possible with an all-pervasive push for technology adoption, constant technology upgradation, and adoption of new models like AI in governance, emerging technologies, using cloud-based platforms, and ensuring data disaggregation and evidence-based policy making. One of the big case studies that emerges from the special campaign is a strong push through a digital model for monitoring pendency across government. In fact, it's a terrific case study to be undertaken as to how, with a small manpower, more than 12 lakh offices across Government of India could be covered and monitored. It is also important to measure the quality of governance. And what I have seen is states which have adopted technology have performed much better. So we have the states like Gujarat, Tamil Nadu, Maharashtra, which have consistently performed very well. Even Uttar Pradesh, which has adopted technology in a very big way, has showed a more than 10% increase in terms of its good governance indicators across 60 indicators and 10 sectors. States have now made a push for district good governance indicators so that district as the comprehensive unit for governance is monitored, and district level indicators are monitored as to see how district governance models are performing, which district is doing well and which district is not where improvements are needed. It has also been seen that, say for example, the Gujarat model of governance, which is touted as one of the best models of governance in India, stands apart because almost all the 33 districts are performing at the same levels of efficiency. So it is important to take the entire, the rising tide must lift all boats. So it ensures that all districts perform at the same level of perfection to ensure a very strong performance in the state level governance indicators. The National E-Services Delivery Assessment, NASDA, monitors government ministry portals as also the service portals and has laid down mandatory services for adoption by states and union territories. The state and ministry portals are monitored in terms of accessibility, content availability, ease of use, information security and privacy. And we also have the service portals which are monitored for status request tracking and integrated service delivery. The effort has been to promote integrated portals where more and more services are made available. For states, an effort was also made to ensure that the basic services like finance, labor, education, social welfare, local governance, environment and tourism, all services provided in these sectors should be provided as e-services. This is the performance of e-services across India in terms of the mandatory e-services, and we found that there has been a massive jump in the adoption of mandatory e-services. While mandatory e-service adoption has been improving, it is also seen that the satisfaction levels across citizens have been increasing. So more and more of India's citizens are happy to have digital services being provided to them. In fact, the scale of transformation in the Union Territory of Jammu Kashmir has been quite phenomenal. And I'll show you in the next slide how Jammu Kashmir has undergone this massive transformation. In that Jammu Kashmir would have about 15 services as e-services. And today, the Union Territory has nearly 1100 services as e-services, the e-Unnat portal being one of the transformative initiatives. Karnataka has had a quantum jump, nearly 2000 services as e-services being provided, and is a front runner for many states. In that there are very strong platforms like Sakala, there is the e-Janaspandana, the Seva Sindhu, multiple portals have been created where e-governance models have been taken forward. The effort is to saturate India's e-services roadmap, and as you can see, from 11,600 it had jumped to 17,000, and the December numbers show roughly about 19,650 services being provided as e-services. It is expected that by mid-2026, we should be in a position to fully saturate the nation's physical services into digital services. The efforts of the department to monitor e-services has been through monthly master way forward reports. We monitor service portals, so you can see the major service portals across India: e-Unnat, Odisha One, e-Sevanam, Seva Setu, Apni Sarkar, e-District, Nivesh Mitra, e-Mitra, Seva Sindhu, EP Seva. Each of these provide over 90% of the total services as e-services. I've mentioned about the Prime Minister's Awards for Excellence in Public Administration, and the PM Awards for Excellence in Public Administration have been used to promote comprehensive development of districts, states, and in terms of adopting a saturated approach. So there are priority sector programs, all 12 have been taken up for holistic development, innovations are being captured, and many of the innovations that are coming out are e-governance based innovations. So the PM Gati Shakti National Master Plan was awarded the Prime Minister's Award for Excellence in Public Administration, has more than 800 data layers and 500 data layers of central ministries in terms of geospatial data planning. So project planning has become far more simplified than it ever was. Then we have regional conferences. An effort is being made to ensure that regional conferences promote e-governance models, and we've had numerous regional conferences that have been held. Dr. S.N. Tripathi has been a regular chairperson at many of these events. This is the one that was held at Guwahati. We've had regional conferences held in every state, including Karnataka, and that's one at Karnataka. So you can see the one at Karnataka on the right side, which has been held, but it's been held in almost all states. More than 28 regional conferences have been held in the last 10 years. So So we have the Good Governance Week, which is again also a celebration of governance through digital platforms. And here what we've tried to do is that the nation's grievance redressal platforms function in unison. And also we'll bring citizens and government closer with focus on improving service delivery. You can see the Honorable Prime Minister's message in this subject, wherein which the focus of governance model has been the transformative relationship between people and government using digital governance models. Further, as has been pointed out, the good governance webinars enable massive outreach. In fact, the DRPG's webinars are attended by an average of 2,000 officers across the nation. And we've tried to promote good governance, bring in officers who have excelled in implementing schemes and share their challenges that they face, the reasons for their success stories, to ensure that the replication of good governance is possible. And this was also the Honorable Prime Minister's idea, wherein which he wanted that the officers who have excelled in the fields of governance should come and make presentations in terms of how the challenges that they have faced. So we've so far held more than 22 webinars. In fact, its numbers gone up by January. So 28 webinars have been held. And these are well attended webinars. There's also the issue with regard to monitoring, and monitoring of trainings are done through online portals. Bhavishya is again an end-to-end digitization for pension payments, and it is adopted for all ministries, and Bhavishya has ensured that single form submissions can be there, auto-population using EHRMS is there, there is a monitoring dashboard in case of every employee must get pension on the date of his retirement, and Bhavishya has ensured almost 90% of the pensioners receiving pension on the date of their retirement. And the PPO goes into the DigiLocker of the employee. There's also an auto campaign. The next step for promoting digital services has been the Digital Life Certificate campaign, and this has been done in all 800 districts and cities for digital empowerment of pensioners. The Prime Minister cited it in a number of places, in a number of his addresses, including the Constitution Day address, his Mann Ki Baat, wherein which the digital empowerment of pensioners has been a big theme of government. More than 2 crore pensioners using digital life certificates for submission of their certificates of existence. Many of these ideas come from strong interpersonal relations, and this is the Chintan sugar. So digital governance has been promoted through great amount of discussions, all levels, taking every individual in the department participating together, and it has ensured that all boats, the rising tide of digital governance should lift all boats. The benefits should be uniform. So this is what I had to share with you. In fact, we tried to take these best practices to all states. There is also a massive interaction with the Right to Services Commissioners, so that the push for adopting more and more digital services is taken up, particularly with northeastern states. We have been taking up through a number of workshops. There have been regional conferences held in Itanagar, Guwahati, Shillong. So to ensure that the government's all-pervasive push for adoption of digital governance models is pursued all across India.